Here, he's
Ready to
not.
jump in.
Hey guys, Ansel Lee here today with another edition of Common Grounds. Hey, Common Grounds is when I bring folks on to talk about different topics. Really, I think most relevant topic today is really how to be effective in your content generation. I work really hard at this, and what I don't do is I don't go it alone. So here today, I've got content strategist and coach extraordinaire, R.C. Clark, Ryan Clark, here today to visit with us. Welcome, R.C. How you doing, man?
Hey, thank you very much, Ansel. Doing very good. Happy to be here. I've got some neighbors with some loud dogs, so if you hear any barking in the background, that's just them. Everything's fine. Just the neighbors acting up.
I got you. And speaking of that, hey, you're actually in Rio.
Yes, Rio de Janeiro. I've got Copacabana Beach here, about 5 minutes away. It's beautiful. There's all these people walking around in these kiosks. You can, get drinks and eat food right on the beach. And, it's just one of the greatest places in the world. Everyone can go there. It's free for everyone to go. But then there's all this experience and hotels and restaurants and bars and all of these things. So you get a big mix of people, kind of like content and marketing. You get a lot of different mix of people and ideas and all sorts of things going on. But it's up to you. Where do you want to go? What kind of content do you want to create?
Where do
Who
you want
resonate
to
with?
go? Yeah, I like it. Well, let me just first give you a shout out. Just I will say and tell the audience that hey, Ryan is he helps me. He has just been so strategic in the launch of Common Grounds and behind the scenes and with strategy and post and constantly work is still part of our team. And so actually, you're going to get to speak to the Bridge Group here. Is it not this Friday? Is it this
Yeah, I
Friday?
think this Friday. Yeah,
This Friday. Oh,
I think
cool.
so.
All right. Well, I'm excited for you to speak to the Bridge Group. That's pretty awesome. Hey, but let's jump in. What makes a good content strategy? What's a great way to design a strategy for your LinkedIn content?
Mm. Yeah, well, I think it's important to have structure to your strategy, but also freedom. So you don't want to have so much structure because I think a lot of people they have a plan and they create a plan, and then it gets to the day-to-day content. They're like, well, I don't even want to talk about that today, or maybe they skip a day. They just can't create something that day, and then it's like the whole plan is messed up, and then you get lost, and then you get confused, and then you just end up not doing anything. But then on the other side, it's like where you have total freedom with the plan. It's just, well, maybe I just have some topics I like to talk about. I like to talk about leadership, and I like to talk about marketing, and I like to talk about human psychology or sales or whatever. And then you're so loose that it comes down to the day, and you sit in front of the computer. And it's like, damn, well, what do I talk about? When you can talk about everything, and then a lot of times you end up not talking about anything, and you get that writer's block. Or maybe it's like, well, what I'm writing about, does this even matter? Does anyone care about this? Do I care about this? So most important thing is to have a strategy where, yeah, you're planning things out each day. Like maybe you plan out the month of some kind of content topics that you want to have and how you can help people, but you want to leave it open enough that you can mix the content around. You can choose different stories that go with that one point, or you can just wake up during the day and say, oh, I want to talk about, this today. And you can write a post about it. So you still know it's taking you somewhere, but you're not so restricted, right? Not so free.
Well, I find that. Oh, I hope I didn't interrupt you, but I find that it's very much like a guide. It's a strategy, but for me, it's a guide in that I've got a direction that we're going in, and I need help, not being all over the place myself. that there's a strategy behind what we're doing, and that these strategies act as a guide. And hey, yeah, I can, if I get something pops up and I can post something else that something that's that's on my heart, I'll do it. And but we especially with like the being deliberate, I guess, and so that you can generate generate whatever whatever goal you're trying to reach. But a lot of people are trying to generate leads, and it being deliberate like that really makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a good mix is you want to have 2 to 3 promotional posts a week, and then mix into that whatever you want, whatever's on your heart. If something just happens during the day and you just want to like write about it, you see someone else's post that you really like and that you want to share, just a funny picture, personal stuff you want to mix in between. But I mean, if you want to drive business, you got to be strategic about it, and you have to educate people about who you are and what you do and what your product does. And you have to think about all the objections that they might have to want to work with you or use that product. And you have to back it up with social proof. What are testimonials and case studies you have that you want to put in there? So it's important that, to drive business, you can just say something like, well, if you want to learn more about sales, send me a DM. But it's much more effective if you're doing something like where you're continuously launching things. Like say you've got an aspect of your program that you want to launch, or a whole program. You want to take 4 weeks and say, hey, for these 4 weeks, I'm going to create 2 to 3 posts a week that are going to talk about what are my specific clients' problems and desires. Here's maybe a list here. Here's my product and how it helps to solve those things over here. Here's a bank of some great stories that I can have to link to those. And then you're going to plan out for those 4 weeks, basically educating your ideal client about the product you have coming up. You're like, hey, I'm launching this thing in a month. Hey, I've got 5 spots for it. Hey, and then continuously, you're letting people know about this. And that's really how you can be strategic, but you don't want to sell all the time, which is why we have, the way that we post, which is basically telling stories and linking that to our value and then calling someone to action. We're not just selling, but doing it in a way that people actually enjoy.
Absolutely. And I just had a thought, and it just went out my brain there. But until I get that back, so what is, in writing a post, you just mentioned talking about telling a story, and that's really much how I write and drawing it down to a truth and with some call to action, if you will. Is that what you think? I mean, is that a great formula?
Yeah. So what makes an effective post? I mean, it depends on what your goal is, but I think there's basically 2 sides. There's 2 ways that, us as business people, people who have a business and want to grow it and bring in leads, but also just want to connect and we want to network and want to express ourselves. We want people to listen to us and enjoy the content we create. So you got to have a mix of 2. So I think on the one side, an effective post is something that connects with people. So that can be any of that personal stuff, some kind of lesson that you just learned in life just that day. If you're a spiritual person, maybe you read something in a book and there's this great lesson and you just want to express what you feel and what you learned from that lesson. Something that's happened in your family that was interesting. So, those things just connect. It's just personal stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with business, but it's about being it's about being a leader. When you express those things, that's how you lead people. That's how you influence people and you connect. On the other hand, there's a kind of post that brings you business. And to do that effectively, they all bring you business, first of all, because on the personal post I just described, someone's going to check out your profile and then they can be like, oh, Ansel, he helps people. He has the bridge program. That sounds interesting. I want to find out more about that. Oh, Ryan, he's a marketing content coach. I want to find out more. So it doesn't matter what I post because they go to my profile and see that, which is the beauty of LinkedIn. But also, if you really it takes something different to convert somebody. It takes a different kind of post for someone to want to read it and them to really want to take an action, a specific action because of that post. So the wrong way to do it is just to have a straight up sell and be like, hey guys, I mean, nothing's wrong, but a not very effective way, I guess, is just to be like, hey, I've just got this. Hey, today I'm launching a new program, costs $1,000. You want to buy it? Or just like really like nothing to it, where it's just you have something and you like want to sell it and like there it is, and then you talk about it randomly once in a while. So the thing is with making people take action in general and in content is first you have to connect with them emotionally. You have to get down to the primal level of humans and human psychology, this primal emotional level, which means storytelling. When you tell a story, you turn off the logical side of someone's brain and you get them into this state where they're being entertained, where they're in a state where their sales defenses are lowered. They're not thinking about being sold to. They're just enjoying the moment. They're enjoying reading what you're writing.
Right.
And then you link that into, okay, what's the lesson? You bridge that into the lesson of this, and you say, whatever that is. And then you're like, hey, well, this thing that I have coming up, this thing that I'm launching, this product that I have, it helps someone achieve that lesson that I told in this story. Hey, if you want to learn more, let me know. So that's kind of the formula. You're starting emotionally, and then you're closing with something that links to that story and that emotion. And then that makes someone be like, cool, I like this person. Let's talk.
Well, interestingly enough, that's how I connected with you. That you were telling the story, and you were doing a video, and I got to listening to you. I was like, I like this guy. And really, that's how I got to know you. I just reached out to you after hearing one of your stories. I thought, I like this guy. I like what he's saying. And matter of fact, I think I need what he's saying. And so we had a conversation. No big deal. We just, I thought that was, any rate. So now we've been working together probably about 1.5 years now. And really just, it's been it's been a real blessing to have you alongside me and helping coach me and kind of guide me and to be more effective. And I just really appreciate that. One of the things that I guess I've learned from you and or following others of the big influencers is is really there's a rhythm to writing. For me, there's a rhythm to all of this. There's not really one magic template, but there's a rhythm of writing. And when you hit that rhythm, I feel like it's kind of like a song. It's just like you're hitting all the right notes, if you will, that people latch onto in that rhythm. And I find it's really, really cool. But I also want to say that you have like a course that you do where you could actually help people sit down and figure out really what that perfect client and what they're thinking about. I can't think of what it is. Help me. You've got a course that you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's something that I'm doing right now. It's called a content in an afternoon session. And I don't want to pitch the whole thing and bore people here. Of course you can just reach out to me if you want to, learn more about it. But basically the idea is that, we sit down for a 2-hour session and I help you plan out a month's worth of content. I call them client generating assets because that's the part that we're focusing on. There's the personal part of expressing yourself, but really we're focusing on, hey, let's create 20 pieces of content for the month. That's where the posts are going to build up on each other and they're going to help you, get more people into a program you have or, join an event or whatever it is that you want to do. And then now you have a repeatable system where you can just spend 20 minutes a day making a post where you have, a bank of stories you can pull from. You have a bank of voice of customer quotes is what I call them. So not just the surface level ideas, but what someone's actually thinking in their mind. I show you how to do that. And I show you how to pull out all the bullets of your program or what you do in a way that's really interesting and creates curiosity and desire. So you just basically wake up for the day and you're like, okay, I want to write about this. Here's a point for my program. Here's a story, put them together. And then you have a post that's connecting with people and, driving engagement. And then of course you have a kind of plan. So it builds up over time. And then you can just repeat that kind of month after month as a
Cool.
system. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And I've already got, some people that I'm doing it with that really like it. So.
Well, cool. And if someone wanted to know more about that, how can they reach out to you?
You can DM on LinkedIn, definitely. Like, hey, I saw you talking with Ansel today, and wanted to just say hi, or wanted to hear more about the session, or man, your hair was great. Good job, Ryan.
Hey, I'm trying to keep up with you on the hair.
We're doing good. We're doing good. We got the same side going. We're looking good over here.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, listen, again, thank you. Any last thoughts? Anything you want to share in closing here?
For everyone else, reading Ansel's stuff, I'm really happy to be here with him, really happy to be working with him. He's taught me, so much about relationships and sales and getting people together too. So, just glad to be doing this with you, Ansel. And, it's been a good pleasure. I'm excited for us to cook up some more things and give value to the people. That's what it's all about.
Speaking of launching, we've got some stuff we're working on right now. So more to come on that. And but hey, if you do want to connect with RC Ryan Clark, again, reach out direct to him, and or if you can't find him, just direct message me and I'll connect you with him. So, hey, RC, thanks for being on here today. Thanks for all you do. Hey, man, and see you soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thanks, brother. See you.